I love it when she does that. You're on. Hi, y'all. Welcome to WKNI TV 25 Good News segment on this September 3rd day. A little rainy outside, Chief. Chief Dorsey with us. Chief, let's see. Yeah. we got to take tenderly with each arm here. He's got a bum arm. I've got obviously a bum arm. But anyway, welcome to WKNI, Chief. Glad to have you on. I don't think I've had you on like forever.
It's been a while.
It has been. And lots going on over that fire department. We don't ever, people say, well, what's going on over there? The trucks sit there in the, garage bays. They see them out every once in a while. And, once in a while you see them jump up and running sirens and going someplace. But that's a job that I can tell you all about too. And I've done it enough myself. But it's one of the few jobs you can put your clothes on in the morning, go to work for 24 hours, and not know within 2 minutes where you're going to be. You can be sitting there watching television, cooking spaghetti, enjoying a great day at the fire station or doing public community service, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of a dangerous fire, either saving property and saving lives or both.
That's correct. And the thing that I try to tell a lot of people, they say, well, you see these firemen sit around there not doing anything, and those trucks are not moving. And that is one job that you would rather for them not to be doing anything. Yeah. Because when we're working, somebody is losing. Sure. So that's one thing that I try to tell a lot of the public. They'll make that comment a lot, and we're in a position where you really don't want to.
They're right about one guy over there, though, Russell McGlamory. So, Russ, I love you, man. But he's, I'm watching all these guys grow up through the chains of command. I remember when Russell was just a fireman. I remember what's his name, the new lieutenant.
Shannon Kelly.
Shannon, yeah. Shannon Kelly. I remember when he went through the academy. And now you've got all these young men up there in high, responsibility positions, and just a tremendous group of men that you have over there. When you respond to a call, it's usually not good news, as you said. Somebody's either in a lot of pain or somebody's losing their property. And we can attest to that. October 10th of last year, I got to admit, Andalusia Fire Department came out to my house. I guess you heard all about that.
Oh, yeah.
But, hey, I was proud to see him. But our local volunteer fire department, for reasons unknown, was not able to show up. And out of the clear blue sky, when I was ready just to give up, here comes Andalusia Fire Department saying, Eddie, is your house on fire? Please help me, guys.
Well, got the call, wasn't for sure. I mean, where was that? But we didn't stop.
No, you didn't.
Once we got on en route, because you never can tell. So.
Exactly, because you thought it was taken like it was at the other end of Pinewood Road.
All right.
And that would be in the city limits. However, when we got over to this side, Pinewood and 29, that's where I live, and that's where the fire was at. But thanks to your men getting out there, it surely made it a lot less of a problem. I'll just say that. There was good professional help that came along the way. God looked out for us that day. I want to personally thank you and your men for showing up. I mean, that was a fluke that it happened, but I'm glad that fluke happened.
we do what we can. Like I said, it once, even if we'd have found out that it was outside the city limits before that point, you'd have still had a truck from Andalusia Fire Department continue on to the call. That's one thing that once we're dispatched, if we know for sure that the other department is not responding, we're going to send that one truck on anyway, regardless, right, to go ahead and start the process of, if it's a fire, to try to put it out anyway until we get back up. And like you said, the reason what happened on that case was we wasn't for sure where it was at.
Right.
And so until we found out, by the time we did find out, we was all still together. So
right.
Those cases will happen. But like I said, even though if we'd have got called and told that it was outside the city limits, you'd have still had a truck respond to that call from Andalusia.
And that's kind of the way it works. Yes. There's things called mutual aid. Other agencies can request you. I think you're on mutual aid with the airport as well. We had a tragedy out there a little over a year ago now, where an airplane crashed out there and took the life of the pilot. And their truck went out. They've got the one truck, and Andalusia was out there as well.
That's right.
And there's no scope to where you'll go as long as you're requested.
Yes,
And
we have to be requested from whatever agency, although once they have an incident on the airport out there, we're going to get called automatically.
right.
But any outside volunteer departments, if they have an issue in their community and they need us, all they got to do is call and request that we give them help, and
Right.
we'll send somebody to help them.
And it won't leave the city uncovered,
No,
because you'll send
no.
one truck with a group
Do it
of
two
troop,
people.
right? And then you'll also have a truck here.
I'll have
ready to
two
respond.
trucks here,
Right.
and the rest of the crew, plus I'll be in. And if it comes down to where I know that they're going to be out there for a while, I will call somebody else in to cover
Right.
whatever manpower I need to cover until they come back into the city.
We have, and folks, I can tell you, I was in Orlando in Orange County, Florida for 21 years, and to have the level of fire protection that we have in this community is second to none and I say this even with law enforcement, second to none in a demographic type setup that we have. We have a city of less than 10,000 people, but we have a fire department that is equivalent to what covered in my district, 100,000 people. And, that says a lot. I mean, you've got all the apparatus over there. You've got the trained personnel. You've got the shift work. You've got, the ability to respond in the time frame needed, which is an important thing for the public to know, especially when they're business owners and when they're property owners. There's a thing called ISO ratings, and we have got a beautiful ISO rating.
And that's something that's coming up now. I'll be in actually Orange Beach the end of the week. There's a bunch of changes coming up in ISO, and I'm going to a class this week to find out what the changes are. I know with a lot of departments back during February, we had our chief conference, and they was talking about changes then. And there was a lot of fire departments out that spent a lot of money because they had just got graded to keep their rating. Well, with this new supposedly rating system that's coming out, they're upset because if they were graded on this new system, they would not have had to do some of the stuff that they had to do, and they have spent $400,000 and $500,000 to get their department back where it needed to be.
We're not in that group.
No. We haven't been graded. We've got graded since I've been in office. Our grading is coming up probably within the next year or 2 years.
So this will be good to know.
This is what I'm going to now, so I'll know if it's something that I need to do above what we're already doing and go ahead and get it implemented, or stay where we're at to make sure that we keep our rating, or try to lower our rating if possible.
One of the things I've seen that was a huge asset to the fire department was that first responder unit that you went out and really convinced the city council and the mayor to purchase for this community. And it has saved a lot of money for that fire department.
It saves a lot of money, and you're not, on accidents, you're not having that big of a vehicle out there on the roadway, which gives somebody something more to hit. You can get it closer off the road, or get it to where they can position it to where they're protected. And far as brush fires, we have worked several brush fires with that truck. You can get that truck and you can put your man up on that panel back there between the back of the cab. He's spraying water while that truck is going around that field. And we've been able to put out a whole lot more brush fires a whole lot quicker without putting men on the ground.
And that's a dangerous situation, because not only in a fire, firemen are always running into fires. We'll talk about that. But when you're running into a brush fire, you've got little rabbits, you got little deer, and then you've got rattlesnakes and all that coming out.
You also got your verbals of the wind change.
And get caught. And then you've got to jerk the hose around through all sorts of terrain. And here you've got that truck that can literally ride along the fire and dampen the fire and put it out.
That's correct.
Great asset to the community. And people look at that and they go, wow, that's a pretty shiny truck. Wow, why do we have that? We've got two other ones. take one of those other ones off the road and you'll snap a or a universal joint or drive shaft.
It's a whole lot easier to stick a bigger truck than it is that smaller truck. The smaller truck is also 4-wheel drive. I mean, we can take it in areas where you won't take one of those big trucks. It's been a real good asset to the department since we've had it.
Well, look at the rim fire that's going on out in California right now and out in the Midwest. I believe it's California. Is it? Colorado. There's a lot of fires going on.
Oh, we're constantly out in that area.
But one of the things I want to talk about is how people just kind of leave firefighting as, well, they're a necessary but necessary part of city government and infrastructure. No. Okay, when your house is on fire, like mine was October 10th, you were begging for somebody to come out there and help you with it and get it out. If you're in a traffic accident, you want them there to, if your car is on fire, you certainly want them there to be helping with that, plus the manpower law enforcement uses to have y'all out there. But I know this is a tough subject for you because it's something we never want to look at, never talk about. But these fires out in California brought it back to life for me. And I can tell you back in 1990, we lost 2 firefighters in our unit. And it was a bad day, a very, very bad day. And then shortly after that, we lost 5 firemen. And, it was almost 2 months of uncanny things. You never talk about it. You never really think about it. It's back here, but when you leave that station, you're coming back. All right, when you kiss them kids when you leave and your wife in the morning when you go into work, I'll see you tomorrow. That's always in your mind, but in reality, you may never come home again.
That's correct.
And 19 firefighters in those woods, how quickly the fire moved, and they'd done everything they were supposed to do, and they buried 19 firefighters. One firefighter, you rarely hear of one fireman dying or being injured on a scene.
That's
you
correct.
hear 2 or more because they will not leave each other behind.
And that's the problem with that whole ordeal out there is that one fella that did survive.
Oh.
He will live with that the rest of his life, knowing that the rest of his brothers and sisters was killed. And all because he was back at the truck to move the truck. Or he'd have been in there involved in the same situation. And that's something that, it's a fear of mine every day.
Right.
Especially when I know that we're going to an actual fire. It stays there with you, and to lose someone, it's just awful. I mean, that bothered me, even with those people, and I was nowhere close to them.
Right.
Anytime you hear of a fireman anywhere that's lost their life fighting fires or serving the public, it's an awful thing.
Well, I'll never forget the training film we had about 2 months before that tragedy we had in Orange County. And what we were watching was the Hackensack incident in New Jersey. And every fireman that has been in the fire department for 1 day or more has heard about Hackensack and has seen the video and has heard them radio calls. And to hear when you're sitting outside the fire and you're hearing your sister station and you're hearing firemen down, okay, you just want to just jump and go and do. See, firemen are crazy. We have this tendency to run into fires. All right, if it's you and your household, we're there, we're going to run into your house. Okay, we're going to do everything we can to save it. But when we've got one of our brothers or sisters down in that house, we give it all. I mean, it's all over. And that's what happens. It's like a magnet, being drawn in. We've got a person down in the house, or you hear that e-burp going off inside the house, a fireman down, you and every firefighter over at that station, that's the worst thing to fight, is holding them back from going in there.
That's correct.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And we drilled for it, we drilled for it, and we drilled for it, but yet it still happens.
Well, it's tough. It's tough to stop it. I mean, you never want to be in that situation, but when you are, your whole train of thought is gone. I mean, your whole objective is to get in there and get whoever that is in there out by whatever means. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing, because you have to sit back sometime and think about what you're going to do, because if not, then not only are you going to have one, you're going to have more than that, because they're going to rush into a situation that they really don't know what's going on.
And I'm not saying that firemen run in and get killed. I'm saying firemen get killed in groups because they stay together.
They stick together.
And you know, I've had where a roof came in on top of me and my crew. And you know what? We didn't budge until we had everybody tapped. You know what I mean by that? Yeah. Okay, and we came out of that building together.
That's it. You never want to leave anybody behind.
And that nozzle, if you can't get that nozzle, man, and you're in the back, you're going to find that nozzle and you're going to search until you find that person. And folks, I guess what I'm trying to say is, even though we'll sit here and say, you know, they don't do anything, okay, it's a brotherhood, it's a love of you know, what type of person would want to go in and risk their life for strangers? Okay, they don't know you from Adam, but yet they're going to come in there and try to save your home. They're going to try to save your property. They're going to try to save your life if you're in there, your children's lives, your pets' lives. How many cats and dogs? I mean, to me, that's on the high list as well. And I can take many times where we resuscitated animals from a guinea pig. I'll never forget that. Somebody's snake got caught, and I said, "Oh well." Wish it well. I hope it got to a low spot. But no, seriously, firefighters really stick it out there the whole time. I'm not saying anything about police officers. They do the same thing, and our military does as well. But here's people that get paid hardly nothing to go do what we get. We have a fine fire department.
Well, Eddie, I have a lot of people telling me how good a job I've done, and I'll tell them in a minute. I can only do as good a job as the people that work up under me.
Right.
They make me look good. Although I've been with the city for a long time, and I do the best job that I can do, but you've also got to have people up under you that does the job that they're supposed to do.
Even Russell.
Oh yeah, even Russell. Hey, I mean, both of the Russells I got over there.
Oh yeah, I heard you got another one. Hey.
I do contribute a lot of our success, a lot of our workmanship to my captains and lieutenants, because my operation is day-to-day operations over there. They're there when I'm not there, and they keep things going because we have an understanding about what my direction is for that department, and they're pretty much on the same line with me. And I normally don't have to, when I'm gone out of town, I don't worry about it, because I got people that I
You got a bunch of fine men over there, and I take my hat off to each and every one of them. I see a lot of new faces over there, and that's a good thing. So,
well, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I tell you, it's getting to the point where it's really hard to find good people to work in any job. Not only that,
yeah.
And there's a smaller group to come when it comes down to firefighting, because a lot of people are not. They're not just fit for that type of work.
You go through the fire academy and make it through, you are something.
Yeah.
You are something. Yes. And I'm not saying it just because of me. I made it through years ago, and I'll tell you, I felt top of the dog, man. I was up there. I mean, not everybody makes it out through that fire academy. And back then, the state of Florida had one of the toughest fire academies going. And I'll never forget the hot burn of going into a real burning building where they set it up. And back then, not like today, I saw that thing that the Alabama Academy has, that trailer. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that thing is awesome. But we went in with pallets and hay and real burning houses, and there was no staging it. That house was on fire. And those are back in the day. And
yeah, they stopped a lot of that because they started having a lot of injuries and that type of, even though it was a controlled environment.
Right.
It was just like you going and actually fighting a literal fire. If you lost control of it, you had problems.
And you got everybody else that was behind you mad at you because the house burnt down. Right. And they didn't get a chance to go in. Chief, we're not even going to take a break, Teresa. We're just going to go on through. What do we have here in the city of Andalusia, in your opinion? We have a great fire department. I know that's coming out of you. All right. But we have also a what I see a visionary government controlling it. We've got a mayor that's got a foresight of being able to see. I don't know how far in the future he sees, but he sees pretty doggone far. And then we've got a city council that supports this type of stuff.
That's correct.
Tell us a little about what kind of days you have with that.
Eddie, I tell anybody, I have a lot of people that, have these negative thoughts about some of the stuff that goes on in this city, but my thing is, and I'll stand anywhere and I'll state this, that since I have worked in the position I've been in and I have worked around Mayor Johnson, anything Mayor Johnson does, he have the city at heart. When you look at what this town used to look like and look at what it looks like now, there are, to draw businesses and stuff like this into a city, you have to do infrastructure. Because that's the first thing they start looking at. They look at your fire department. They look at your police department. They look at your schools, and they look at what your town looked like. And you look at the businesses that's been brought in since Mayor Johnson's been mayor, and look at the stuff that's possibly coming.
Oh, we know some stories coming too.
That tells you a lot about what his mentality is for this city.
Well, I remember when he first came into office the first time, and we were on East 3 Notch up there on the old building up there, and they widened the road out and they redone the sewer system. And I was like, really? And then they buried all the utilities. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here with lights on 24/7. When we first were over there on East 3 Notch, you never knew if your lights would be on or not. A little wind would blow up and the tree branches would fall down. You'd be called out and the transformer blew up.
Yeah.
A lot of assets and expenses were incurred, and now we've saved a lot of money.
Well, it takes time to people to grab concept. The way it's always been, especially with most of the older people in this town, change.
Don't look at me when you say that.
Don't like change. But once it's done, and they look back at it, and then they say, wow, there are things that needs to be done and has to be done to sustain livability.
Right.
You can't continue to leave stuff the way it was back in the 50s and expect for it to continue to work through. If it did, people would still be driving the vehicles they had back in the 50s. They're having to upgrade as it goes.
Right.
And to make things work. And I will say that I have actually enjoyed and had a pleasure since I've been moved in as chief, which November will be 9 years ago. I've had great pleasures of working with Mayor Johnson. At any time that I go and tell him that I need something, he works with me. The council worked with me at what I need for that department down there, and I appreciate that for even having the opportunity.
You have to have that if you're going to succeed. If it's a bucking system, then we won't have the fire department we have. If we had somebody that didn't care about the infrastructure with the foresight of knowing what was coming to this community and what they were trying to draw to this community, you wouldn't have this fire department.
That's right.
I was talking to the chief here just a few weeks ago from the police department, and we had a dive team that was able to go retrieve that young man that unfortunately drowned out on South 55. We have a robotic bomb, whatever you call it, EOD here in the city. Mm-hmm. We have a SWAT team equivalent here in the city. We have our own investigators here in the city. This is huge. We're talking about a city of less than 10,000, and we're prepared to take on much more than that with the infrastructure we have.
That's correct.
The only thing missing, and I'll say it to you, and you have no control over this, is places for people to live. There's no apartments, a great amount, or no rentals available for people to come in and support industry.
And that's correct. And that's something that's been talked about and has been worked on, because a lot of times I'm down there at some of the meetings that they have with developers to try to get stuff like that to happen. And I'll say that you'll see that. It's coming.
Right.
I believe it's coming, and it's just going to take time. It's going to take time.
Well, Chief, we know you got many hats, and you do a heck of a job over there. My hat comes off to you, sir, and I'll tell you, I wish I'd known you in my younger years. I would have served under you any day. And
I appreciate it, and Actually, a lot of people that do recognize me, don't recognize me, they'll ask me how long have I been with the city, and a lot of them don't realize actually my first 6 years of working for this city was in a patrol car.
That's right. Yep.
And then for 8 years after that was Department of Public Safety.
And you worked both. Yep, yes. I remember that. And see, that's where things have to change. And we may not like the change, but they have to change in order to keep up with the way things are.
That's correct.
And I'm proud to be part of this community. I'm proud to be the community television station here at WKNI. And I'm proud to be right down here on the square. This is absolutely gorgeous. We're sitting out here. This is a place to sit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll sit here and watch that traffic going by 2-3 hours at a time and just enjoy it. It's a great historical center of a community right here. And we look forward to having you come back and tell us a little bit more about the fire department, the men serving over there. And do you have any openings?
I do not right now, but I will be having pretty soon. I've got to do a promotion here within the next month. Actually, I'll do one, and then I have another promotion because I've got to promote a lieutenant to captain and a firefighter to lieutenant. So once I do that, I'll have a couple of firefighter openings.
So a chance to begin.
Yes.
So if you need a job, look like you want to get into firefighting, folks, come by and see Chief Dorsey over there. He's located right down the street here, and certainly he'll talk to you. If you want a firefighting career, I can tell you it's an honorable one, and it's one that you'll never, once it's in your blood, it'll never leave it.
Don't go away.
You don't know how many times I want to jump on the back. See, I started out jumping on the back of those trucks as they came by, because we'd get a fire call, and they'd drive by if you lived, in a distance, and they'd slow down, and you'd jump on the back of that truck, grab that handbar, and ride it to the fire. Not knowing what you were going to, but you'd ride it to the fire. And boy, I'll tell you, those were the good old days. Chief, thanks so much for coming on. Is there anything you want to tell the folks about Andalusia Fire Department before you leave?
Pretty much everybody knows. We have a lot of people that stops in. I do have people call occasionally, want to know when can they bring their kids by to look at the equipment and look at the station. And we're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at any time that anybody wants to stop in and take a tour of the station, look at the equipment there. Feel free to do it there. Normally somebody there unless we're on the call.
Well, Chief, we thank you. Thank you for all your support in the community. Folks, Chief Ethan Dorsey, Andalusia Fire Department, and great guy, great department. Proud to have you in here.
Well, thank you.
God bless you. Take care of that arm.
Oh, yeah. I'll be back to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I'm going at 2:45. Folks, stay tuned. In about 15-20 minutes, weather provided, we're going to have Congresswoman Roby in here, sitting right where you were sitting. And I'll be talking to her. Boy, that's some crazy stuff going on in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's going to be a real touchy situation.
Well, my son, as you know, just came back from Afghanistan, and I'm not looking forward to any thoughts of him being put on the ground anywhere else.
I had a son that went to Iraq 3 times.
Wow. Bless your heart, man. It's a tough thing. It really is.
It really is.
God bless you. Remember, folks, keep it real. Keep God in it. Good news, Covington County and Andalusia right here on WKNI TV, your community television station. Thanks for tuning in. Don't go away. Congresswoman Roby should be here shortly.